Welcome to the Marketing Corner, hosted by Shawn Campbell, and we are thrilled to have you with us today. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned small business owner, or a marketing pro looking to sharpen your skills, you're in the right place. We're all about bringing you the latest insights, strategies, and real-world advice to help you thrive in today's competitive market. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Here's your host, Shawn Campbell.
Well, good Saturday morning, everybody on Radio Land. I am not Shawn Campbell. My name is David Bradley. I'm filling in for Shawn Campbell as he's having fun up in Scottsdale, the Barrett Jackson auction, right? I will first want to start off with, we encourage people to call into the show. I'm going to give you the number right now, 520-790-2040. Call in with any questions that you do have and join the conversation as well. And I want to start also, too, by thanking all the sponsors that makes this show happen. Bill Netherton with Professional Bartenders Unlimited. Yours truly, David Bradley with Medicare A to Z. Candace Eaton, C. Eaton Photography. Danny McPadden, Last Bridge Media. Mark Weiss, Sales Performance Strategies. Juan J.D. Delgado, Roofs Are Hot. Jose Oliver with Awakening Minds, LLC. Mo Russo, Executive and Business Coach. And we have a new sponsor, Robert Kayasen from eForce Marketing. So those are our sponsors. Thank you very much. And the man of the hour, I have my good buddy here, Gary Noland, owner of Easy Go Junk Removal. Good morning, Gary. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's just this is a great experience, hosting it for the first time. Typically, I'm a co-host on some of the shows, but thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I got a big seat to fill, big shoes to fill. Hopefully, Shawn's listening, and, we'll see. We'll get the critique later on today. Or maybe he's too busy looking at cars.
It's a pretty amazing show, actually. So
yeah, I've never been. So
yeah.
Well, let's just dive in and get started here. You and I mean, you're not only one of my clients, but we've become friends, and we've had numerous conversations. And I remember one, it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We're on the phone. I look at it. I'm like, wow, we've been on the phone for 2.5 hours.
No.
It was amazing, and it just seemed like 5 minutes, Tell us a little bit about your business, and then I want to get in, the first question is, the biggest challenges as a business owner,
Sure.
maybe your business or your perspective in business in general.
Absolutely. Well, again, my name's Gary Noland, and I own and operate Easy Go Junk Removal. And basically what we do is we come into a house, a business, could be commercial or residential, and we take care of the things that people don't want anymore, that are more than just like what Waste Management or Republic would pick up in a can. And we do anything from a single item to multiple truckloads. We've had properties that have taken 20, believe it or not, truckloads of debris out of them, and down to just picking up a refrigerator or a couch, and we do everything in between. Again, we do residential, commercial, and we also we help nonprofits, etc., and we do a lot of donations as well. One of our favorite ones are Salvation Army. We love the Gospel Rescue Mission, and so when we get certain items, it's a fantastic organization. And so when we get items, we like to donate to those, because not everything, believe it or not, one man's junk is another man.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, we wind up getting things that are very much what you would call reusable. Mm-hmm. So we love doing that. And we've made an impact in this community. We are 4 years old, and we really feel like we've really done well for a company of that age.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say not just in your industry or whatever, but you're in tune with the business world and other other lines of businesses and so forth, the biggest challenges a business owner?
Yeah, we kind of got into this the other day, and I think a lot of people believe that once they put up a shingle, as in the old days, that you're in business, and that's all you need to do. Today, it is kind of like, oh, I have a Facebook page and I built a website, and that's all I have to do. And really, what happens when you're, an entrepreneur, that's when the work begins. That's actually the easy stuff. That's just the shingle. That's just, setting up the office or whatever. You've got the equipment. You've got, whatever it takes to get to do the job. But to bring people in, that's a whole nother issue. And that's where the work really, truly begins. That's really making your Facebook page stick out, making the right connections with that Facebook page, understanding the algorithms of Google, and not only Google anymore. Actually, it's Apple has stepped in. Of course, you have Bing. You have all these other servers that actually make business happen. Mm-hmm. And so many of us forget that we're focused just on Google. Well, Google used to be like 99% of all search engines. I think they're down just above to 50% now. That means people are using other things to look and locate what you do for a living.
Yeah, I know like with my business and other business owners that I do speak with, there's so many different avenues that, you can do this, you can do that, you can, print ads and, radio or whatever the case may be. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're doing everything that's thrown your way, it's like, okay, where's the rest of the money, right? It's trying to fine tune those, handful or the number of aspects that'll drive your business. Oh,
absolutely. And it's real easy to ignore the very fact that still, I believe, as digital as we get, and I love the world, that digital world, but as digital, sometimes we need to step back and do a lot of handshaking, meet and greets, actually get out there and look people in the eyes.
Grassroots.
Absolutely, because I think a lot of politicians miss that in their, where they want to get to, and it works with business as well. You want to really get to where the rubber meets the road, start shaking hands, meeting people, and developing what I call relationships. They work and they're gold.
Yeah, and looking at your business too, I think a lot of word of mouth, right?
Yes.
People talking to people and just referring here and there. Everyone has junk or stuff. Right?
Well, for instance, everywhere you look, there is a storage unit being built. And Americans, we love to hold on. And what happens is eventually we look at it and go, wow, I've been paying for that storage for, 20 years, which isn't abnormal at all, David. We get them all the time where, you open up and there's just dust everywhere, and everything that they thought was value, the rats, the mice, the bugs have infiltrated, and it becomes a problem. And then they start looking at how much money they have spent over the last 10, 12, 15 years. And it's like, holy, I could have bought a car.
Yeah. Once you add it all up, exactly.
Yeah. And yet we keep building them and building them. And that's one of the services that we offer is to, help them take that bill away and, put a little money in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to be taking a break here in a couple minutes here. But I do want to touch on branding. Avenues of branding. What's been most effective for you? Sure. For branding and, just getting the business name out there.
Absolutely. You want to do that now or after?
Yeah, we can start with that right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, branding is very important. I was talking to a buddy of mine. I'm really connected with the junk removal business, actually not only in Florida, but throughout the country.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that, yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be 30, 35 companies that I know really well throughout. And branding is the most significant thing that you can do. And I was talking to a buddy the other night, and it's really interesting because when people call me, I already know that they want junk to be removed, okay, something hauled away. So that's not an issue. We already understand that when they call, this is what they need. What they're going to identify with is what my company stands for and who I am. And that's huge than just being a Fred Sanford and Son kind of guy and just picking up. It's relationship, and then relationship. It's kind of like the old real estate thing, right? Location, location,
Right, exactly.
right? Those are the three most important things. Well, in business, it's the three most important things is relationship, and relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when people ignore that, and they, again, and I know you love that Field of Dreams thing, but yes, when you build it, they will come. If you do the other work around, because you still got to fill the seats, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, and it's the same thing in business. Yeah, I built this business. How do I get the people to come? How do I get them to know that there is easy-go junk removal and hauling available to their service? We're not a franchise. We're not the big guys. We are a family-owned and operated business.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Gary, thank you for the first segment. We're going to start our second segment here. I want to continue talking about that relationships, right? You made the comment of getting them in and, building it will come. I know that conversation that you and I had when I've decided to expand my office in Green Valley to triple the size. It's scary and exciting. And that whole saying, build it, that will come from, Field of Dreams keeps popping in my head. But, you hit it the nail right on the head. Getting them there or in is one thing. But keeping them, it's a whole different perspective, and it is relationships,
Yep. And there's other kind of relationships that are being built nowadays. So, we've already talked about that one-on-one or company to company. That's important too. But then there's this whole new social media world that people build a relationship completely different on what they see and the vibe that you're sending out to people via social media, right? Facebook, Nextdoor. You have all these outlets now, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. And they are sending out information. When you post something, you're sending out information about your company. And a lot of people, either they'll be on the left or the right hand of politics or whatever, and they'll throw this stuff out there. And to me, it's like ignoring half of your potential customers. I never want to be this guy or that guy. I want to be the guy who provides junk removal, and that's how I focus. So I try not to ever divide my potential customer base by saying, this person stinks or, whatever, and throwing these kind of what I would call harmful posts to perhaps half of my customer base. And so I always try to keep it positive. I always try to keep it very business oriented. Nah, man, I'm easy go junk removal. This is what I can provide for you. I don't really care where you sit as far as what you believe. Those are personal. I'm talking business, and I'm talking what I can offer to everybody.
Yeah, it's true. There is a lot of that aspect of going on. People bringing other things in, especially political views and so forth.
Yep.
That's a whole different subject, right?
Yep.
What's been your most effective way of growing your business? Is it digital? Is it social media? Because you do a lot of posting, and I love your posts. You're doing them. It's authentic. It's you. It's you and Joanne, your wife. I mean, It's amazing, what you're posting and what you're doing. And obviously that's working for you.
It really truly is. And I think the biggest thing that works for us, as we were talking earlier, we have, if you can, at the end of next month, on the 28th, we will have been in business for 4 years in the Pima County. Mm-hmm. And we started with nothing. We now have over 700 reviews.
That's amazing.
5-star reviews. It's all about service. And this is one of our taglines, Easy Go Junk Removal, where customers and service come first. Again, I don't care what stage of life we're in. I don't care, whether you're a millionaire or somebody who's struggling. Everybody gets top line service. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets care. And because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know anything. All I know is when I step into a house, a business, or whatever, is to provide them with the very best service I can possibly have. And it has reflected in our review system.
Oh, yeah, I see that. You're posting another 5-star review, another 5-star review. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. My mind's going all over the place with this, because I want to go over here, I want to go over here and here. With your business, I look at it with my business as well. Doing insurance, doing Medicare. It's truly relationship.
Yes.
It is truly relational, right? But there's businesses, and I think yours is relationship also, but more transactional.
Yes.
So making that shift to build that relationship when you're doing a transactional deal, right? Because, you're only as good as your last haul, right?
Yes and no. So this is the biggest thing about building relationships, and real estate agents, again, know this extremely well. And, my wife was a real estate agent for 20 years in Texas, and she's, she understands this. And so, but this is what all businesses need to really understand, and that is, 1, repeat customer. Number 2, referrals.
Yep.
Your referral base is, so if you leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth, are you going to get a referral out of that?
Oh, they're telling 10 people.
No. And they're going to tell 10 people, and all of a sudden, your name is mud, in the world that you're doing business in. But if you treat everybody, and it's funny because if you start looking at people, well, he's a doctor, or he works at the service station or whatever, and you start treating them indifferent, you don't know where the next referral comes from.
Yeah.
What is it? Kevin Bacon, 7 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
I totally believe in that.
Yeah. Here it's 1 degree of separation.
It probably is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so here we are. We're so connected already, and we don't even know it. And most people do not farm that land. Mm-hmm. But we're all connected because you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
And that knows you.
Boom. That's right. Yeah. And so it just goes around. And all you're doing, I always like to say it's like being a farmer. You do all the work before you get the crop. And that means you got to till the soil. You got to amend the soil. Mm-hmm. Then you got to plant. You got to water. You got to pray for good weather, etc. But it's a long time before you see anything out of it.
Right, exactly.
It's the same thing in business. Nothing changes. We have to till. You just talked about yourself. I've been to your office. So 3 times that size, that's quite an endeavor. Mm-hmm. And so what you're doing, though, and we talked about this the other night, is that you are actually tilling the soil. You're adding the amendments. You're building a very fertile land for your business to produce, and that is exciting. Only entrepreneurs know this.
Yeah. That
feeling of taking nothing. There is nothing but an idea and a want and a drive to do something big, and it is the greatest feeling in the world when you reach, and I always like to look at it this way, David. You reach plateaus. If you just focus on, the top, then you're in for a rough ride because life happens, right?
But you got to have the steps to get to that top.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah, you got to really enjoy these steps and these little victories, mm-hmm. because if you look at life and I don't care if it's in business or personal, if you look at life and you remember things, most of the things we remember are the little things. It's odd, but it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I just lost my train of thought there. Man.
That train went out of the station.
We were just talk. Going back to my office, the expansion and so forth, in that conversation that we had that night, making the office the most pleasant,
yes,
inviting.
I want to be here place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's kind of like this studio, man. This studio is really cool.
Oh, it is. It's great.
It's really inviting. There's, it's got great lighting, etc. And the acoustics are, it's built for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's whatever your thing is. If you were a tile guy, you'd want, tiles displayed, etc., flooring, whatever it is. And you're doing insurance, and I've used your services. You're fantastic.
I appreciate that.
And absolutely. But what you want is when people walk into your office, I believe, you want them to not want to leave. This is a cool place. And then as you grow, you're going to have a place that people want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. That's what I want as a junk removal. I want them to be happy that I've showed up. And, at the end of the day, when we're done, they're happy with the end.
Okay. Going back to, branding, what have you experienced any challenges with the branding or
competition, man? Yeah. So we have the big guys, and I don't have a problem saying them. You got Junk, and you got Junk King, fantastic companies. In fact, I'm one of the few people who isn't a franchise that absolutely love Got Junk in them, because they've paved a way that we're no longer the guy who shows up in a jalopy and we show up in uniforms. We're, we're professionals, right? So I've always loved that about them. But as far as branding goes, they're hard to beat. They're everywhere and anywhere. Got Junk, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful branding thing. It goes all the way back to the Got Milk, if you remember.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of it comes to
and it comes down to money. But he built it from nothing. If you ever seen it, Brian Scudamore, who built that company, I've researched this guy. He's a hero of mine, because he took something that he built a whole genre of business. It wasn't there before. There was no professional guy out there, and he had to rebuild. I bought his book, I read it, and it's like, wow, this guy's amazing. And then what he did is he created, because look, it's like fast food. You ever notice fast foods? My wife loves to put this out there, and that is, if you look at where McDonald's is, there's a Burger King or a Taco Bell or a Five Guys, or there's four, and it's the same thing with gasoline.
Yeah,
what happens is you build something, and then other people find another way to make a wheel, and it's just like, wow. So that's hard to get over, but it's also easy to niche what you're doing. And comparatively, we're not a big franchise. We're not like that. A lot of people like to deal with family-owned businesses.
Yeah, like the family-owned business. That's a great point and a great topic. You guys are doing your thing.
We are. Yeah, and I'm not one of those people that like to go, oh man, this guy got that business, or look at the other guys looking at that. I'm happy for him. Even if I was the biggest guy on the block, like Got Junk, I can't own it all. Ask them; they don't own it all.
Right. Everyone gets a piece of the pie, right?
That's right.
All right, we got about 25 more seconds before we go into our next break. Sure. So I think in the next segment, we can keep going with the branding aspect, and whatever else comes to mind.
Absolutely.
All right, and just like that, show's halfway over. I can't believe how fast time's going by. The music on this show is amazing.
Yes, it is.
We were commenting about that on the break. Gary, I want to bring up a post that you did recently, and we talked about this the other night as well. And let me see if I can get the verbiage correct. We have enough enemies and obstacles. Don't be one of them.
Yeah. And that's actually from me.
Yeah, that's huge, And where I want to go with that too, it's like, hey, what makes you tick? What gets you up in the morning? And then we can focus on that. Don't be one of the obstacles.
Right.
That's one of my biggest challenges.
Yeah, and the fear of success. Everybody, who would be afraid of succeeding?
Right.
Well, I think most of us have a bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have these dreams, but there are self-sabotaging systems in each and every one of it, and they manifest different.
Right.
But each one of us have it in us that cause us to stumble on our way. That's why I never want to look, hey, I have an idea where I want to take my company, but I don't focus there 24/7 because otherwise you miss these steps.
You got to dumb it down, right?
Yeah.
We got to start somewhere. I mean, I just did a mastermind with Shawn Campbell the other day, and Mo Russo facilitates it, and it's like, write down your 15-year deal, 15-year, then 10, then 5, then 3, and then down to this quarter that we're in right now, and it was an awesome exercise. It's
amazing how clear you can get
paint the picture.
Yeah, one of my favorite baseball movies is The Love of the Game with Kevin Costner, and when he starts this baseball, game, the whole crowd is just noisy, loud, obnoxious. He's not in friendly territory, and he looks around and he says something that has stuck with me ever since, and that is clear the mechanism. And every noise, everything disappears in his world. He is 100% ready to go battle this opposing team and give it his best shot. Mm-hmm. These people are no longer part of the picture. He has one job to do, and that is one batter at a time. One batter, and he winds up throwing a no-hitter. You don't get there overnight. You learn to develop that strategy. It's the same thing in business. If you let the outside chatter, what is it, 90? I think I want to say it's well over 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. I never go into and I've worked for myself for 35 years. I never go into a business with that thought in mind. I clear that mechanism. I don't want that around me. It stops you from focusing on where you are and where you're going. Mm-hmm. When outside stuff comes in, it just muddles it.
Oh yeah, and it's I've been told by so many people, you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. And there's so many people that want to see you fail as well.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, but the fear of success that we carry inside of us as well. Okay.
Yeah.
People don't plan to fail.
What's that old saying, right?
Fail to plan, right? I mean,
that's right.
As cliche as it is,
it's true.
I mean, it is. It really is.
If you don't make the adjustments and you don't have the understanding of where you're going, the chances of you succeeding vicariously is zero. It's a lotto mentality, and that has. I always say that, but it's true. You have a lotto mentality. It has no bearing in business whatsoever. You're just throwing the dice and thinking that you're going to hit the right numbers, but that's not how business works. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of ups, and there's a lot of failures. And if you let them, failures will defeat you. Mm-hmm. They'll hurt you, and they'll literally derail you, and you will be out of business. And there's no room for that. If you stay focused, and that's the hardest thing, I guess. And, I think you're right. And it's even family sometimes that really, and I don't know where it comes from because I don't have that gene in me where I want somebody to fail. But there are people that absolutely, yeah, man, I want him to fail. And
those are the miserable people.
They're absolutely miserable, but they're there. And they're sometimes the closest people to you. And that may be the scariest thing, period. I want people to, you're expanding. the last thing I want to see is, going out of business.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's a scary step. It's a scary move, and that leads into another comment that we've talked about. Do it afraid. That motivates me.
Yeah, well, that was another post, right? And what would you do if you weren't afraid? Fear is part of life.
Oh,
Whether or not you're a fear of cancer or whatever. It's snakes, right? And you wouldn't like my job, by the way. We run into snakes and rats and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Taking apart hot tubs, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, those are realities. A fear is, and if that fear is a block for you to get to the next step, you have to overcome it. And that's not always easy. Sometimes it takes a lot of work and a lot of personal work, because some of these fears are, when you come right down to it, they're really not logical to have.
Right.
But they're there for whatever reason, and they have a way of just making you stumble.
I think a lot of it has to do with complacency as well.
Oh, that's
an aspect of it, yeah.
Yeah. Complacency.
I'm happy where I am. Afraid to take that next step, scale the business. What do I need to do to get to that next level?
Or putting things off. Procrastination is one of the biggest things that will kill a business. Is, let's say you've had a whole quarter that really sucks, and we've all had it, where it just knocks you off and you just stop doing the steps that you need to do. It would be like an alcoholic forgetting the steps, right? And it's like, and where are you going to be if you forget your steps? You're going to be right back to drinking.
Where you were, yeah.
It's the same thing with business. If you're having a bad quarter, but then you just stop doing the things that you absolutely know that are going to pay off in the long run. There are steps in business that will, and then you stop. You just derailed yourself again because of nothing.
Yeah.
You're having a bad time. That's when you amp up. If you're not working, where you were working and you're having a bad quarter, that's where you up the other stuff. You up your social media, you up your radio spots, you up your presence. You go out and you meet people and you make the right connections. You said it best, David, is, you want to hang out with people that are successful. And I want to be the least successful in the room.
Yeah. One of the guests we had on the show a couple months ago, Edmund Marquez, awesome individual, great guy, and he said, and I'll never forget this, you want to be a baller? Hang out with ballers.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny because I have mentors in this industry, and my major mentor has been through hell in his life, and he's overcome it. And some of it is self-imposed, but to be where he is now and where he was 7-8 years ago, we're talking, gospel rescue mission kind of guy to a very successful businessman. That's the people I want who can.
Look at the owner of my pillow. Everyone has their their thoughts about the guy, but I mean, gosh, his story is amazing. We got about a minute and 45 seconds here for this section. I want to talk about that, the failures, right? That topic's been brought up on the show a lot. And, I think we all have to go through that. Failures.
Failures are the greatest lesson that you can possibly have. If you look at Apple computers, and the things that they had to do, and the things that they claim Bill Gates did to them, and literally derailed them. And I mean, to be the biggest, baddest company in the world now. And if you knew their history from beginning to end, and all the ups and downs and absolute, we're talking knockdown, drag out, death. Most companies would have died. And they just kept pushing. Yeah,
you got to keep the mission.
You got to keep
the vision, the mission, and keep moving forward.
And look at them now. Look at me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never want to lose sight.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you don't learn to change directions when you have to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are so headstrong. Well, nope, this is the way I've done it for 50.
Yeah.
Well, some things you do have to learn and change.
Right. Well, we're getting ready to go into the last break and then do our last segment. We'll be right back. All right, here we are for the last segment. I want a special shout out to John, our engineer. Man, this guy's phenomenal. Coming in here and keeping me calm and stopping my heart palpitations and giving me towels for sweating and nervousness. Thank you, John, so much. And again, for the sponsors that puts this whole show together, Bill Netherton, Professional Bartenders Unlimited, yours truly, David Bradley, Medicare A to Z, Candace Eaton, C. Eaton Photography, Danny McPayden, Last Bridge Media, Mark Weiss, Sales Performance Strategies, Juan J.D. Delgado, Roofs Are Hot, Jose Oliver, Awakening Minds, LLC, Mo Russo, Executive and Business Coach, and a new sponsor, Robert Kayasin from eForce Marketing. Next week on the Marketing Corner, special guest will be Rob Siegler with co-host Mo Russo. And then Shawn puts on the hot seat. The next hot seat will be Wednesday, February 5th. Topic is Playing to Win. Panelists will be Ryan Shirley and my buddy Eric Spitzer. This is going to be a great show, too. So, well, welcome back, Gary. Thank you so much, man, for being here. We've got like about 10, 12 minutes left. Wow, we talked about a lot of stuff,
Absolutely.
It's
a lot to business.
It is, and I'm telling you, man, every time I talk to you, it's, you pump me up, man. You really do, motivate me. And, there's that whole saying too, people come in your lives for a season, some come for a reason. We met through that networking group,
Sure.
Advantage Alliance, and we just clicked, man.
Yep.
We clicked.
That's another thing, again, we're building relationships, and it is so important not to neglect people that are around you. Yeah. Everybody offers you something. And vice versa, I want to offer them something, right? Not just junk removal, but me as a human being.
Yeah, and everyone has a story too. That's a whole another hour talk we could have.
That's a beautiful thing.
And
right
you
there.
shared your story.
Yeah,
and it was amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. I'll share mine with you one of these days.
Absolutely. Well,
maybe over lunch today.
You said it best, though. We all have a story.
Yeah.
And when you overcome something, or when you have this story, it does people wonderful things.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going through something, man.
Yep.
And it's like you can help people look at life a little different, a little better, and you become a positive instead of not a negative, but a zero. And you become a positive in people's lives, and it makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially in the business world, too.
Yeah. And that's just the benefit of it. But human to human, that's what drives me, is being able to connect, not just with the customers. I do connect with the customers, but with people. It just fills you up. Yeah. And it's a good thing.
And we want to stay full.
And I want to stay full, and I want to be able to help people. And what is the old saying? Those who have been given much is required. That's me. And I know that. And so I never forget that. Yeah. As you know, my story. So it's a very powerful thing. And so you want to throw that into your business as well.
Yeah.
Your trials, your tribulations, all those kind of things, they make who you are.
Yeah. And a business owner too, we always have our moments, or we have a situation or whatever, like, oh my gosh, why did I get into this? Do I really want to keep doing this or whatever?
3 times the business space. Oh no.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I know. Right. And, but I'm and surrounding myself and talking with you and talking with other positive people and it's just, it's the right thing to do, and, I think every business owner, whether for personal growth, growing your business, I highly encourage that, man. Just
absolutely,
getting those right people around you.
So there's so much negative out there, and I not to disparage anybody, but the reality is only entrepreneurs understand what it's like to be that.
Absolutely.
You know, when they take their resources and their time and their knowledge and create something, it's where if you don't have resources to lean back,
you can drive yourself crazy.
You drive yourself crazy, or you'll think that there's only one way to do it. And there's always at least another way, if not several ways, to do it. And some of those roads are a heck of a lot easier than the one you plan to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to shore yourself up with like-minded people, but people who look at life with a different perspective, a different thought wave, and it really does pay off. And so, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to take it, but it does mean that you want to listen to it, because that information may not be pertinent now, but down the road, well, Dave said something, hey, didn't work in that situation, but this situation, it's a perfect fit.
Oh, yeah.
So you're constantly learning. It's like going to school 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
My wife always says that. You never stop learning until you die.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's so important.
That's true.
Yeah. And so that's me in the business sense is, you know, you can trip yourself up daily, but why would you choose to do that?
Mm-hmm. It goes back to, you know, getting out of your own way, you know, and making things happen.
It's all forward with business.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stagnate. You can't go. I mean, sometimes you have to step back and regroup. That's just business sense.
Oh, that's life.
That is life. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you don't want to self-sabotage.
Right.
That would be a terrible. That would be terrible.
Mm-hmm. And going back again, you know, we are our worst enemy. You know, I say that all the time.
Yeah, and if you have negative people around you, and you know, and if they're loved ones, it makes it really difficult. But you got to quarantine them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get rid of that. You know, misery enjoys company.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just flush it. You know, be positive, always forward thinking, and you know, like I said, you know, you've been a tremendous help for me. I want to shout out to Shawn Campbell too. You know, he's handling all my digital marketing now, and I was so against digital marketing for years and years. I mean, do grassroots. I'm going to grow my business, you know, the way people did 100 years ago, whatever the case may be. And then I was like, wait a minute. Get with the program. Get with the times, David, you know. Yeah. And it's been a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and you don't want to ignore, this is me, and people may disagree, but you don't want to ignore that grassroots.
Oh, exactly.
Especially with the people that you're dealing with, because, you know, I'm one of them, right? We're baby boomers. And we do things a little different than X, Y, and Z.
Oh, I have clients that are, you know, in their 80s and so forth, you know. Yeah. There's still some people out there that don't have emails.
Yeah,
you know,
and they still like on paper.
Yeah, you know I'm a paper guy, man. Yeah. You see my planner. I got Post-it notes everywhere.
That's right. And so
I keep Post-it notes in business.
Yeah, so you don't want to ignore that. But you also don't want to ignore tilling the field again. Right. Use that analogy. And that is because guess what? There's another crop of people that are coming up every year.
Always evolving, yeah.
And eventually you're going to run out of baby boomers, and then you're going to want to run into, especially in your business, you're going to run into X's. Mm-hmm. And that generation is different than my generation.
Oh, yeah. You know, they know electronics, they know the technology, they know all that stuff. But, you know, when it comes down to like products, and that's with any business, right? They think they know everything, but they don't.
Yeah. And that, you know, you just said something that's really very important, and that is you have to know your product or products. And then on top of it, you have to be able to explain it and get people to where they understand exactly what you're offering.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people fail this, you know, in junk removal, they fail a lot, because they're not able to explain what they do, how they charge, etc. And it's important. And what they offer. These are the things we do. These are, like, we don't haul hazardous waste.
Right.
And so when I get to the job, I don't want them thinking I'm taking all the paint and all that. I can't. Mm-hmm. Not legally, I can't. And so it's all about being able to discuss beforehand and getting everything up aboard where people actually understand what you do And it's the same thing. I sat down, I knew nothing about, going through Medicare. And
oh yeah, I love that scenario.
Yeah.
I really do, because this is an obsession of mine.
Yes.
It's not a passion; it's an obsession.
Yeah, and so you guided me through it, and it made things so much easier than me trying to go, the long way. And again, it comes down to now I have a trust with you, and you're telling me, when I joined, hey, in November, things are going to change, and we'll relook at it, and that's relational. And that's not only relational, but that's product based. Now you're looking out after me. I have an advocate in the Medicare world. God, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to talk to somebody, from across the seas or, whatever. I get somebody who sits in front of me that I've actually met and I've talked, and now I trust. That's a huge difference.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Yeah, I take pride in all that, and everything that I do.
Absolutely. Can you imagine going through? I mean, that's a big decision. When it comes down to your health.
Well, that's like me sitting down and doing, I'm going to throw it out there, doing my taxes. I'm not a CPA. I don't do taxes. I don't do this. I don't want to do that.
You don't want Well, that's again, right? You want to scale things,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
When we first start, we're the, my brother always says, I'm the chief bottle, and he's a really powerful guy. But at the time, I'm a chief bottle brusher, right? Washer. And when you start like that, that's true. But what happens as you grow, man, you got to learn to let go of the little things and let other people come and, dust up the floor and clean the bathrooms and, take care of your taxes, whatever.
Oh, that you're bringing up a really good point. I mean, there's, I've been to Medicare conferences last year, several of them, across the country, and even people I talk to, podcasts or things I just listen to, it's, if someone, and they talked about that, letting go of stuff, if someone can, in your organization or an employee or what have you, can do something, I think they said 70%, 80% as good as you, let them.
Well, see, we all have, this is the reality. We all have 24 hours in a day. So how do you make time? How do you make time? Well, how you make time is letting go of things that are consuming
taking your time.
And so you have to find people, and this is, you have your degree in business, so you'll know this. And that is, if you allow people to rise, most of them will. You just got to create an avenue for them to achieve. Now, they may not do it exactly like you, but the end product is the most important thing.
Yeah. Doing it their way, get the same results.
Same results are great, right?
Well, we're down to the last minute.
Uh-oh.
Real quick, what motivates you?
Well, I think what motivates me is my relationship with my wife, and to stay above what we would call the natural course of living, and that is bills. And then after that, of course, is my relationships with my customers. I absolutely love that.
Yep.
I love integrating with people in their lives. I honestly, and so there's never a day that I go to work that I go, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some nasty jobs, but I've never had that.
Yeah. Hey,
What a great
Gary,
day.
this is awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thank you all that tuned in and listened to the Marketing Corner. I'm David Bradley, Medicare Z. Shawn Campbell will be back next week. John, thank you again, buddy.